I'm right here in downtown Boerne, Texas, known for their beautiful Texas Hill Country view, southern hospitality, and most importantly, strong sense of community. My name is Jamison Coy, I'm a real estate agent, and I live and serve right here in Boerne, Texas. And bringing exceptional value is extremely important to me. And one way of doing that is having the privilege of highlighting some of our really spectacular local businesses that make Boerne exceptional. And behind me is Roam Brewery. And I will say, this is not your typical brewery. Definitely known for their exceptional in-house craft beers, but more importantly, their welcoming environment, their frequent weekly events, as well as their intentionality within the community for many fundraising and outreach programs. We're gonna go inside, we're gonna talk with the three founders and really understand what sets this business apart and why I personally believe on your next visit to Boerne, Texas, you should come and check out Roam Brewery.
My name is Jeremy Affeldt. I'm the founder, CEO, and owner of Roam Brewing Company. Yeah, my previous career is Major League Baseball. I spent about 18 years overall in Major League Baseball, 4 years in the minor leagues, 14 in the major leagues. You know, when you retire from Major League Baseball retirement age is not 50. It's mid-30s a lot of times. For me, it was 36. And I just kind of was one of those guys that knew that I couldn't just retire golf and hunt. Like, that's kind of my passions, but that can't be the next 50 years of my life. Baseball playing might have been over, but I tried the TV game, liked it, color commentary, loved public speaking, did a little bit of that, did some book writing. So I've dabbled in all those things, and all those things are still fun for me, but they're not something that, for whatever reason, it just didn't sit right like that. I still had a "is this it" type moment. When I look back about being a part of a community, and I thought about public speaking, color, and doing color for TV or writing books, that didn't keep me in the community. That kept me on the road that I was already doing. And I wanted to be closer to my boys. I wanted to be around my boys. I wanted my boys to see me work because it was important, but I also wanted them to be tangible. Like, what is Dad doing? And how is he part of the community? I could have coached. I could have started a sports training facility. I could have done a lot of things that other athletes do and they're needed, but that really wasn't it for me. And so I remember just thinking about what I did with 21st Amendment in San Francisco when I played, and being a part of the community and using a brewery as a part of reaching people and reaching a message, or reaching people with a message, which I did a lot of that with poverty, and I used breweries to do it. I said, man, what better opportunity would be here in Boerne? It's a small town, got a few breweries, it's ripe for another one, to actually integrate into the community and become a part of it, to where it's like I could get a message across. I could do what I want. I could bring music, I could bring trivia, we could bring comedy, we could bring men's nights, women's nights. We can do what we want in the community using a place where people can come sit and have a beer, or sit and have a glass of wine, or a drink, or a food truck option. And for me, that all of a sudden I got excited about. It brought me to this brewery concept, and then I went right back to 21st Amendment, where my love of this concept started. And Brandon and Jaron both worked there, and they wanted to kind of do a brewery on their own. So it was kind of a perfect storm in a way, in a symmetry of three guys that wanted to do a brewery. One wanted to make really good beer of his own. He gets to select how he does the beer. The other one gets to run the front house and gets to run it how he likes to run breweries. That's what he enjoys doing. And me, I get to own one and put on events that I want to put on. I mean, it is a perfect scenario, and it's been awesome.
My name is Brandon Phillips, one of the co-founders and general manager of Roam Brewing Company. What brought me into the world of brewing was the culture, really. The beer industry is a really tight-knit community, and everybody's super cool, just out for fun all the time, and that just kind of aligned with everything I was looking for. Like I said, never in my wildest dreams did I think I would pursue a career in it, but here we are, and it's been 15 years, and it's been a heck of a ride. The way I got involved being one of the founders of Roam was working in San Francisco at a brewery called 21st Amendment. Jaron and I worked close together. We got hired right around the same time, and we're both kind of seasonal guys. we talked about it when we were in our seasonal roles. It was like, yeah, one day you'll be running this place and I'll be the head brewer. You know, Jaron will be the head brewer. And time went on and I went up the management ranks, and our head brewer left at the time, and he climbed the ranks there and became our head brewer. And so we found ourselves in a place where, oh shoot, we are running this place now and this is great. And it's like, well, one day we'll own our own brewery together. And within that time, about 2013, 2014, I met Jeremy, and we started doing a charity event at the brewery in San Francisco, and he'd bring in about 10 or 15 of the San Francisco Giants ball players, and they would celebrity bartend for a night, and it all goes back to Jeremy's charity, Generation Alive, and we just blew that up, and we had so much fun doing it. He retired in 2015. He would come back to San Francisco, do a lot of TV stuff, do a lot of radio. He was just the ambassador for the Giants, and a really good one. One day he came back and he's like, dude, I want to open a brewery and I want you to do it with me. And I was like, you tell me when and where and I'll be there. And so he finally called me one day and he's like, all right, let's do it, but we're going to do it in Boerne, Texas. And I was like, where is Boerne, Texas? And I'd never heard about it. And said, cool, let's do it, but we can't do it without Jaron, because as much as I know about running the place, he knows way more about the beer. And he's like, cool, well, you think we can get him? And I was, yeah, we can definitely get him, because Jaron and I had been talking about doing our own thing.
My name is Jaron Shepard, and I'm the brewmaster here at Roam Brewing. An old college roommate, he had a homebrew kit, said, hey, you want to brew some beer? I said, hey, that sounds interesting. So we started doing it, and kind of fell down the rabbit hole after that. And after we ended up parting ways, moving out, I just kind of I bought my own homebrew kit at that point, and I just kind of kept brewing. Sometimes it was 1 or 2 batches a week. My wife could definitely tell you that our house didn't always smell the greatest with all the fermentation going on, but we were never short on a beer, so that's kind of how it all started. Yes, I think for me, it really starts with enjoying beer. I mean, whether it be with friends, or you've got a cool bottle that you found on the shelf somewhere, or you're drinking with your spouse at the end of the night, tasting different beers and new beers kind of inspires me to create and keep pushing the envelope on what beer can be. And it happens a lot here at Roam within the community. We have regulars that come in and say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you brewed something like this? And that kind of gets my wheels spinning. It's like, yeah, that would be cool. I mean, to kind of give you an example, I recently did a cucumber beer. And that was kind of one thing that I'd never really brewed before. Customer came in with an idea, well, a friend of ours, 41 Club member, Grant. So we kind of ran with it, and that kind of kicked off the creative process. Once that idea kind of hits, then I go back to kind of my technical knowledge of, okay, now what malts do I need to enact this flavor profile? What hops might I want to use? What yeast do I want to use? What's our water profile going to be like? So yeah, once that kind of spark is ignited by the passion of beer, then it go back to the technical aspects of it all and how to build that recipe and enact that idea.
Yeah, the thing that sets us apart from a lot of breweries is that community outreach and just making sure that we provide a community space for the people in our community that really want a place to go to and congregate and talk to people, like-minded people, meet new people. The amount of customers that I've had that have told us the amount of friends they've made since they've been coming to Roam, and they just didn't have places like that before. To be embraced by the community like we have been has been the biggest win in my opinion. We've created a community spot. The events we do, from men's night, women's night, comedy night, it's just really about bringing people together and getting back there on the back patio and laughing together, or listening to music together, just doing it all together and create a good atmosphere for the whole thing.
For me, Roam is, you come in, you got a welcoming environment. When you come in, it kind of has that old Western feel. We kept a lot of the history of the livery barn here. So you walk in, you get a little bit of the history of Boerne. You get really good beer, obviously. We got TVs for sports, because I'm a sports guy. I like watching sports. There's a symmetry with people that are wanting to have a beer and watch a game. There is that. But there is also a symmetry with being outside. And anybody knows the hill country, it's outside. So we wanted to create an environment like we're in right now. We have a beautiful bar out back. We do have some TVs out back if you want to watch a game. We got good music on the speakers. And then we also, obviously the stage behind me, we are creating an environment where you can come at any time, and everybody that lives in this community, and hopefully the people that visit enough, know that this place you can come to and you can have probably an environment you want to have. We have a front beer garden where it's a lot quieter. If you don't want to be around some of the inside stuff, you just want to sit outside with a buddy or with your bride or your spouse on a date, and you don't have, and you got calmer music, you got back here in the beer garden. If you want the whole beer garden feel of a bunch of people getting together, having a good time, probably something going on the stage. Always in the evening, pretty much you got a pretty good chance there's something going on in the evenings on stage. Or you want to go inside, you're like, I want to be part of that energy of a sports bar feel, or you might even have comedy. I want those options, and we have all those options all in one day. And that's what this is all about, because that's what community is. Community is a group of people that are getting together, connecting, but they all might not connect the same way. So I don't want people to all have to connect one way. I wanted diversified connection points, and that's what this is. And then you got food trucks. Everybody loves food trucks. Come here and go get a food truck. We got different options all the time going on here. So for me, I mean, that's what it's all about, and that's why this brewery for me would stand out.
From the beer side, what makes this place unique, I think, to not all places, but certainly some around the area, is that we actually use reverse osmosis water here for our brewing water. The water out here is very hard, so it's suitable for some beer styles, but not others. And by using reverse osmosis, basically what that allows me to do is take that water down to a blank canvas and build the mineral content up for that brewing water specific to each batch of beer. And it usually is dependent on what style I'm brewing. So that's really a way that we can really hone in and try to get a lot of these beers brewed perfect to style.
The community has really embraced us and has invited us in, and Boerne's a special place, and you can see that right when you drive into town. And we didn't want to come in here and try and invade anybody's space. We wanted to come in and be part of the community and not be like, oh, we're coming from California, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. It's like, no, we came here, we had about 1.5 years of build out time, so that gave us 1.5 years of R&D pretty much. And so we got to know all the local brewers, from the guys over at Tusculum to Cibolo Creek, Dodging Duck. We just went in, popped our faces in, started talking to them, and they're like, all right, cool, you guys are cool. So they kind of embraced us, and that's what really took off for us, is all the local guys really getting behind us and understanding that, hey, we're trying to do something good here, and we're not trying to step on anybody's toes while we're doing it.
You know, when Jeremy first originally told us about wanting to start the brewery here, it's kind of like, where's Boerne, Texas? And then obviously we got educated really quickly that it's pronounced Boerne. I had personally actually never been to Texas before. We moved out here. So we came out to look at it before we moved, just to, you know, kind of make sure that we were 100% wanting to do this. And I'll be honest, I thought all of Texas looked like West Texas, just desert, cactus, tumbleweeds, that kind of thing. So when we got the hill country here, I was blown away. I mean, I grew up in California, I lived there all my life. I love that state. It's got so much natural beauty. And coming out here reminded me of some parts of that I really enjoyed growing up. And so it really kind of helped push through some of the fear and the uncertainty of, you know, moving out to start a business, just seeing the natural beauty that's around here. And then obviously coming here to Boerne, getting to know a lot of people in this great town. It reminds me a lot of a town that I grew up in, which is a really small town in California. So the transition was kind of easy at that point.
You know, for Boerne, I came here in 2017, moved down here after I retired in 2015, came in, loving the hill country. You know, I'm a hunter. And so when I was playing, I would come in here to hunt. And so I knew the hill country. It was just a great time. One, it was warmer than the Northwest to that kind of stuff. But for me, I enjoyed the hill country feel, and I knew that if I was gonna move from where I lived in the mountains, I had to have something besides, flat. In Texas, everybody's like, oh, it's super flat. I mean, the hill country is perfect. If I had to go with an option, I wanted, the live oak trees and the rolling hills, the people are so good, the food is so good, the sports are fun to watch. My kids are into sports. Golf is great. They had kind of a lot of things that I wanted to have my boys around, raising boys. And so I kind of came in, but I had done big cities. I've been playing in big cities for almost 20 years. Like I didn't necessarily want to be in a big city environment, but this was kind of a perfect thing for me because it had that small town feel, but I could get to a city if I wanted some of the amenities of a bigger city, but I didn't have to be in the big city. And for me, this was perfect. It was a perfect environment where I had space to run around in, space to raise my boys in, but yet a neighborhood and a community and a lot of people who are very friendly. They're welcoming from the get-go. I didn't start the brewery right when I got here. 2017, I moved here and I was still trying to get my bearings and where I was at. Went through a life change with a divorce. And so I was like, oh my goodness, is this where I want to stay? And it was, because the way that people surrounded you and loved on you, even in tough times. And that's another reason why the brewery makes sense, because I wanted to have a place where people could go through a rough time or a good time and they could talk about it. And this community is perfect for that. They like to come out, and it's shown here. People like to come out, sit and talk, whether it's good or bad, going through a tough time in life or a great time in life. You have a community that's willing to hang out with you. And the longer I've lived here, and it has nothing to do with being an athlete. It doesn't. Like I don't sit over here and promote big sports. I don't do autograph signings at my own brewery. Maybe time to time they'll want to do one, or I'll bring in other guys, but I don't do it that way. I just want to be a part of the community. I want to be a normal guy that just loves to give back and pour into kids and pour into people and love on men and encourage them. Like for my wife, I've just recently been remarried. She loves the women's nights. She loves being a part. She has a place right across the street from me. We have just awesome scenarios here. We can love on couples, love on kids. Like, it's awesome.
When Jeremy originally talked about his mission and his idea was a place for community to come together for the good times and the bad times. For us, whether it's, like I said, having a comedy night and everyone's laughing and having a good time, to putting on a fundraiser for somebody who might be in need. We wanted to be that space here in Boerne. That was kind of the mission all along.
We incorporated the buffalo into our mentality, into our business, into the way we do everything. The way that herds of buffalo move, they charge through storms, and no matter what facet of life you're in, you're always going to have a storm, or you're always going to be going through a storm. Nobody's perfect. The buffalo mentality is, rather than go around the storm, you had it face on. And so we embraced it as a business and a company, and we use that as our daily reminder of, like, storms are going to come our way all the time. It's how do we get through them? And it takes a team to really buy into all of that, to understand the core values of our brand and our business. And I feel like we've done a good job of portraying that onto not only our customers but to our staff, and our staff really gets that, and they really understand that we're all in this together. And so that's why we really try to make everything like team-oriented, team effort, because we're all in this together. It's not one person on their own.
The way that this community has really just grabbed hold of us and taken that in and supported us, it showed. I didn't have to be a native Texan. I didn't live here my whole life. I'm not a third-generation Texan. I'm a military brat that bounced around, retired from baseball, lived in Washington, came down here, and just began to pour into the community. And I wasn't like that guy that everybody knew. It's not like I walked down the street and was like, oh my gosh, here's that baseball player. That wasn't who I was in the game. People just hung out with me to hang out, like, because they're just friendly people. They don't care who you are. And that's what I got really comfortable with, and that's why I chose to stay. And I am gonna stay. I'm gonna be here a long time. Yeah, if you're watching this, I'll tell you what, if you want community, if you want to get a good feel for Boerne, this is a spot. It's a spot because no matter when you walk in the door, you're gonna get a friendly smile. People are gonna learn your name real quick. And this is, like, to me, I call it the cheers bar. Like, when you walk in, you say, hey, they know you by your first name. And for me, if you come in as a visitor and you see that and you see how inviting it is, or how you want a little bit of that Texas hill country flair with the country music, or the music in the hill country and outdoors, or just good sports, because the hill country is full of good sports and there's a lot of sports fans here. You got music fans, you got sports fans, you got people that like to go out and just have a good cigar, or go on date night. That's what people do here in the hill country. This is exactly what we show here. And so if you want a piece of what Boerne's like and a piece of what the hill country's like, I think this is the spot if you want to try it out.
If you're interested to stay up to date on all the amazing things going on right here at Roam Brewery, I've dropped a link to all their social channels in the description below. And as always, if you have any questions about moving to the beautiful city of Boerne or surrounding areas, feel free to reach out anytime. My contact details are listed below. Take care. Have a great day.